Another question has been answered about Jimmie Johnson and his NASCAR return. Of course, it was announced just a couple of months ago that he would be joining at the time what was Petty GMS and their ownership group, and that he would run a few races in 2023. It's later announced, or maybe it was during that announcement, it was announced that he was going to be in the Daytona 500 as that first race. And then a few month or so later, so sometime in the last few weeks, it was announced that he would drive the number 84 car. Then just within that day or so, it was announced that Carvana, his IndyCar sponsor, would be moving with him to NASCAR to sponsor him for the Daytona 500. Well, now we have more information for Jimmie Johnson. We've got the team, obviously. We've got the car number. We've got the sponsor. Now we have the crew chief. His crew chief for 2023 in the few races that he does participate in will be Todd Gordon. Todd Gordon was a crew chief for quite a while. He won a championship with Joey Logano in 2018, won a lot of races with Logano, also won some races with Ryan Blaney back in the last couple of years of his crew chiefing career. They did a crew chief swap over at Team Penske, which kind of really set the way things are right now with Logano with Paul Wolfe. Keselowski had Bullens. I think Cindric now has Bullens. And then Blaney was left with Todd Gordon. And then Todd Gordon, I think it was at the end of 21, maybe it was the end of 20, he decided to retire from being a full-time crew chief. Has done some stuff. He's been on Fox's, daily TV show for NASCAR. What's it called? Race Hub. He joins that every once in a while, talks about kind of the more technical side of things. And I think he's done some at track stuff, I want to say, but he has not been a full-time crew chief. He has not even really been crew chiefing since he retired. Now, once again, he hasn't been retired that long. It's been 1 or 2 years since he's been atop the pit box, but he is going to come back for a few races here in 2023, and it's going to be with a different team, different manufacturer. He's going to be with a Legacy Motor Club and Jimmie Johnson in 2023. Here's what he had to say. I'm really looking forward to working with another champion that still has the desire to compete and win at the highest level. In my conversations with Jimmie, I found we both miss the competition, but don't want the grind of a full-time schedule, so this is a great opportunity for us to still race and help Legacy Motor Club build on the success they saw in 2022. Having the pressure of making the race through qualifying in the dual races is going to be a little stressful with a car that Jimmie and I haven't worked with yet. But the team had really good cars on super speedways last season, so we have great resources, great teammates, and a great starting point. He's not wrong. They had a really good 2022 over at what was formerly known as Petty GMS. It's still weird to call them Legacy Motor Club, but they had a good 2022, especially with Erik Jones. Jones won a race. He was top 15 in regular season standings. He almost won a couple more races, honestly. Ty Dillon could have stepped it up. But Erik Jones was a really good bright spot. Next year, they have another young driver in that lineup with Noah Gragson. So, they got a pretty solid lineup for 2023. We'll see if Jimmie Johnson can make the 500. And he was right. Those super speedways, they were pretty fast. We saw them running up front. Almost win at Talladega in the spring. Jimmie Johnson had this to say about Todd Gordon. I'm thrilled to have Todd come on board as my crew chief. I've really enjoyed getting to know him over the last few weeks. I have known and respected him as a competitor for many years and have always appreciated his professionalism, work ethic, and results. His wisdom and experience will be beneficial to Legacy MC as a whole. I believe he will work very well with Dave, Luke, and the entire team. So, once again, Jimmie Johnson's working with a Gordon. Of course, Jeff Gordon was his car's co-owner when he was back at Hendrick Motorsports, also a teammate of his, but this time it will be Todd Gordon, the crew chief for Jimmie Johnson in 2023, starting out with that Daytona 500 and then wherever else they race. He might attempt the double, I don't know. Maybe the Chicago street race, maybe COTA, maybe he wants to do some road courses that he hasn't done before. I'm not sure, but we'll see where Jimmie Johnson eventually races. Maybe he'll do Gateway, a track that he knows how to race at, since he did that in IndyCar, I believe. Some more crew chief news for Legacy Motor Club. I keep on wanting to say Petty GMS. It's still weird to say Legacy Motor Club. It's going to be weird probably until 2024. I'm not used to the name yet. I don't think anyone is. It's a unique name, and I'm just not used to it yet. But Speaking of crew chiefs, speaking of Legacy Motor Club, let's move on to the next topic. That is the 43 car. Of course, Erik Jones is still in that 43 car this year. He will be driving it, looking to make the playoffs, maybe. We'll talk about that in my season preview, which will be sometime before the season. If I had to guess, it'll be that week between the Clash and the Daytona 500. We might. Speaking of, if we're going to let's just do it. Let's just do a mid-video scheduling update. At the end of this week, I will do our first paint scheme rating video. Into January is usually when I try to do the first one of those. So we'll look at some really good paint schemes. There have been some really, really good paint schemes that I like this year. There's some I don't like, but there's a lot I do like. So you'll get to see which ones I do and don't like. Let's say Thursday or Friday. That's probably going to be when that video is posted. So look out for that. Season preview will be, as I said, sometime between the Daytona 500 and the Clash. If I had to guess, that's Saturday, so the Saturday before the Super Bowl. But other than that, those are the only two things I have planned, if there's any news, obviously. But let's talk about the crew chief of Erik Jones, Dave Elenz. Elenz? I think it's Elenz. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm sorry. Anyways, he has signed an extension with Legacy Motor Club. I almost said Petty GMS again. He obviously has a win with Erik Jones at the Southern 500 last year, but he has worked with Petty GMS just this I said Petty GMS, you know what I mean. He joined them last year, obviously a really good year, a very great start for them. A win, really good on the points, fighting for a playoff spot almost, kind of. So they had a really good year last year. I expect them to build on that and potentially make a run into the playoffs. And there's a really good reason he got extended. Him and Jones have worked really well together so far. And it's a good decision for both sides. Elenz gets to stay in a pretty competitive team. Jones gets to keep his crew chief that he had a lot of success with. So we'll see how it goes. The extension is through 2025, I believe. But yes, they signed an extension, so that's good for him. But yes, that's all I got for today, unless there was some news in like the last 10 minutes or so that I've been making this video. But I am looking forward to it, this 2023 season. It cannot be any slower. I'm getting to that point where I'm watching 2022 highlights, just waiting for it to come back, but it has not yet come back, so still we wait. It's about just under 2 weeks until cars are back on track. So looking forward to that Busch Clash at the Coliseum. Hope you guys are looking forward to it as well. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, great rest of your, great start to your week. It is Monday, but thanks for watching this. Have a great day.